A lot of the challenges that companies who are thinking about IPO, one of those challenges is where to list. So if you could just very quickly, I'm sure there are people here in the room who may be considering, or in another year or two, some advice to companies considering IPO, and some of the things they can look out for, and some of the things that they should take into consideration as they're making that decision.
Yeah, sure. It's obviously, I think, one question that is not a one-size-fits-all response. But I think certainly one area that is pretty close to my heart, I would say, is I think the role of the local exchanges on the ground. I think they have a very big role to play in providing a platform for growth companies to in the continent to have a sustainable access to equity capital. I think if you take a step back and you look at some of the challenges that African companies have faced listing internationally, the overriding challenge has been there's a finite pool of international capital on the international equity stock exchanges that have to own African companies. And that is what the local pension funds, the insurance companies, the asset managers, and of course retail can provide for African companies on the local stock exchanges. Now, there would always be a question of capacity, right? Because many of these markets are still in their infancy, growing. And that's where the international exchanges come into question. And obviously, London, I think to some extent has been the default location, I think partly for historical reasons, proximity to the continent, and has seen a much larger share of volumes from African companies historically. The US less so, but I think continues to remain relevant consideration given the depth of the market. I think another option is that is emerging is the Middle East, and I think we're definitely seeing a number of companies start to explore the Middle East as an alternative option. I think what I would say on the listing location question is that it's not a decision that needs to be made at an early stage in your growth trajectory. It's a decision that at the time when you are starting to think very hard about listing within, call it 12, 24 months, then, that's the right time to start to consult with not just advisors, but with investors as to what might be the right place to list.